What's your impression of us game, Faru?
Yes, I had had FC rather. They're really performing well. I'm looking at the points. I think they have
I wouldn't want to cut in, but then that is the coach of Jaros is right behind you, beside you there. So in case.
Yes, this is what I even want to ask. When you see Janovets and had FC and neighbors there, I mean,
Ici c'est la Terre Sainte, la patrie des dieux, bienvenue sur la terre-mère. Le nord, le sud, embrasse l'est et l'ouest, on vit le règne de estamos en la tierra de nuestros abuelos. Você sabe que as crianças são futuro, trazendo esperança para a próxima geração. On donne tout pour l'Afrique du Djibouti au Sénégal. Comme mendiant, tout ce que je veux c'est soulever le Graal. L'Afrique est belle, l'Afrique est jeune, l'Afrique est forte. Enfant de la terre, mère, lève le poing et envoie du love. Enfant de la terre, mère, lève le poing et envoie du love.
Welcome again to another exciting episode of Africa in Sport here on African Renaissance TV Network with me, Mohammed M. Sediba. Well, today is an interesting one. Today we are here to have a panel discussion. Of course, previous episodes we've not go through the second division table, but today we're going through the second division table with two special guests, two honorable guests. To Kamara, journalist, of course, he's a journalist who is very much passionate about the football of this country. And also we have the coach of the head coach of Jaro FC, Mr. Keva. So again with my special analyst, of course an independent analyst of of the show here, Mohammed Bibaji, my co-host.
So now, well, you can stop from there because you have two guests. You don't allow me to introduce myself first, and then but I can help with that. I would always like to talk about myself first before you do. I am Mohammed Bibaji, and I am glad to be here as usual. And it's special to have a. Well, today I think the composition is nice. At least we have a female guest and a male guest, so it's balanced enough for my liking. So it's good.
So now we'll be talking about the second division table. We'll be looking at the perspective of a head coach in the division league, and of course, a journalist too. Now, Mr. Keva, welcome to African Sport.
Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, viewers listening from the African News TV. A pleasure being here with my two great people that I have said a lot, not here, but we said a lot together, and then I think it's going to be an interesting discussion today.
I hope you are not going to put out some secrets here, please, so you can keep some of those things off the camera.
So, you might welcome my female guest, of course, the first female guest on African Sport.
It will be my honor. It will be my honor to introduce to everyone Fatou Kamara, a journalist, a sport journalist, an amazing one, someone that has been really contributing to information, not just sharing, but then making sure everyone is at par with what is happening for sport here within the Gambia. And in fact, even outside, as of yesterday, I've seen her sharing some other reports on the Premier League and other leagues, so which is an amazing one. Madam, you're welcome on to the show here.
thank you so much, and it is good afternoon. Yes, it is afternoon. Don't say I'm hungry.
No, it's okay. Afternoons.
Yeah. Good afternoon, wonderful viewers. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you so much. Now we'll be talking about the table standing of the Gambia Football Federation Second Division League. It's about game day 19, and then we've seen games that have played on Tuesday, 26th of March 2024, and then of course on the 27th of March and 28th. Now the first game that stands on the table is Immigrations versus Windu United. Immigrations smash Windu United one goal to 0. I will start with you. What's your reaction? You might want to say, we do beat Gambia.
I know what you say, because if it is a 1-0 victory, is never called a smash. I wouldn't call it a smash. It's a respectable victory. But it was important for them having that 3 points. Like I said in the previous sessions, this second phase of the league, any point that is lost, you cannot recover it back. So it becomes a positive thing for a team if you are able to secure only 3 points and then becomes winners, and that 3 points is that important for them going forward. So it's going to be an interesting part to see how they find their way coming up the table, because that is important. In this second phase of the season, we are looking at two most important points. those on the top of the table, those fighting for the top of the table, and then those that are really struggling from the relegation zone. So as far as you can leap from that relegation zone, the better for the team. So it's a good start for them.
So that's great. Gunjur beats Gambia Dutchlands FC in the last game of the first round. At they beat Gambia Dutchland one goal. A goal that was scored. From a defensive mistake, I can say. A goalkeeper was outside the play, and then he was smart. He was spotted by the striker of Gunjur, and then he put on in a very good goal.
Maybe Gunjur is becoming a specialist of a 1-0 victory over their opponents. So
But they have been beaten in the last game.
well,
by
it's
by
fair enough.
Immigration. So what's your take on Gunjur's performance in the league so far?
I think so far I can rate it. They're very good. But like the game that you were talking about, Immigration versus Gunjur, I watched the match, and Gunjur were at the better side, both the first half and the second half. But I think they lack focus. They were having chances, but they were not capitalizing on it. So looking at that, it was in the second half, the last minute goal, that helped Innovation FC to escape that red line, and they collect all the maximum 3 points that they need. I think that was their mistake. To Gunjur also, it was a defensive mistake that this Immigration capitalized and they were able to score. But so far so good. They have played well. They create chances, but they couldn't score.
But then, we've seen in the first round they have been struggling. They have been struggling at the table. They have been
Yeah.
struggling in most of their games also. Now, what's your take on that as the head coach? What do you think is going wrong with Gunjur?
Yeah, it was important point for Immigration first, because looking at the table standing, they were at the rock bottom by that time they were playing, so they know what it means. What it means, to get that 3 points. So at times it's not important of what you play, like Mourinho will always tell you. What is more important is getting that 3 points.
The 3 points.
So they were masterclass in that performance that they did in Gunjur. They able to contain them. Because Gunjur were from win against Dutch Lion.
So
And the big motivation at
That
times.
confidence was there.
That's when it was there. They believe yes, because it's top bottom. And all when you play teams like that, so it's a problem. Because like you look at where they are, and you have that mindset of coming just to collect points and then move like that. While they also having that belief we have to move away from where we are. So that's why it was difficult playing teams that are at the red zone. So that 3 point was very important.
indeed, very very important for Immigration. And then I believe Immigration they are doing well actually. They also played very nice football. I watched some of their games, but they also struggling a little.
Yeah, before that game,
Why are they used by the ID card boys? Why would people call them ID card boys?
I played them in the first game of the they scored first, and then we came back from behind. Even though the performance wasn't that good even in that game, we could have at least getting points from them. But they have some brilliant players, individual performance that will give them results. So getting that 1-0 against Gunjur wasn't a big surprise to me.
Now the other game that played the same evening, the same afternoon, I can say, was Jara West versus Hearts. But yeah, I think we'll come to that.
that was a great derby.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. And then it plays at Jara West, and then we've seen most of the time Jara West, their home games are mostly draws. But then we'll come back to that. Now we have Unique Global versus Serekunda United, which ended two goals to both sides. And then Unique Global, they are also doing well. They are doing well, but they are not at the very positive side of the table. And also, Serekunda also is really struggling, even though their coach is very well experienced. Coach Tafamani. What's your reaction? What's your impression of the Gunjur?
Well, like you said, the game was quite 2 goals. That was a game. I think it's a game of experience. Like you said, Tafamane is within not just the Gambia, within Africa, he's regarded as one of the finest coaches you can have in terms of experience, and then he has the backing of some couple of trophies and good records. So it was experience at play. And having to come off that age and then have a 2-2 draw, like Unique Global 2 is one of those teams, just like the Dutch Lions, when you go to the first division, the TMTs, the BS Galaxies, they have now the backing of funds.
Mhm.
And for a team in the division, let's say in Division 2, that is quite important now. We've seen this be giving positive results to other teams that are benefiting from that. So, with motivation wise, I think they are there. So, it's easy to say they have that backing of confidence. And for Serakunda to stand up to them and earn a point, I think to me, the points were earned by Serakunda as opposed to being global.
Most definitely. Serekunda, both Serekunda and Gunju, they both stand 15, 14, 15 on the table.
Yeah.
You know, they are following each other.
Mhm.
You know, both of them are following each other. But you know, we've seen recently the Unique Global, they've signed a new coach, a foreign coach. You know, Fatu, what do you think that has an importance on the Gambian football? Having a foreign coach in the divisional league, especially the second division.
Yeah, it will have a great impact. Let me say a positive, great impact on the particular team. Because looking at the experience wise, I didn't know the background of
The coach.
the
The
coach,
coach,
but I believe they will not just appoint him as a coach like that.
Mhm.
The experience is there, and it will serve as a tool to uplift these players. Looking at their performance, it's not that very bad, but again, it will help them lift their confidence and also their grades when it comes to the table standing.
That's them. It's also a great exposure. It will give the exposure to the league
Exactly.
because we have in foreign national, coaching the boys in the second division. Now, what's your impression of the performance of course, Unique Global and itself FC?
Yeah, that Serakunda FC, when you watch them play, you understand tactically that team is oriented. I sometimes I wonder, I do have chat with people, I said why this was not coming. Sometimes football is very funny. They play good games. Tactically, when you play them, you understand you play a team. I played them in the first round. I won 3-2 against them. But after playing them, I know it was one of the most difficult games that I played because there was tactical battles that I have to face against playing Koita Pamani. We all know where he have been, what I have been through, the experience that he have, and then those players listening to him. He put his input in those players. Tactically they are very good, but just results are not coming on their way. Because look at the table standing still. You know, they are doing good.
They are doing good.
Yeah, likewise, Unique Global also, with the new ownership, the financial muscle that they having still, we are not seeing them where we expect them to be. But the foreign coach have come in. But we are here ready to bottle it out.
So that's the challenge taking number.
Now, we also have a gym that was played in Bakau. Of course, the government Dutchland player just kind of thing, away. They play away and then they drew 1-1. They drew 0-0, of course. But then we'll talk about that. Maybe later on we can expand on the discussion. But then, how I will start with Farouk because I've seen you there. So what's your impression of the gym? How do you see the gym?
It was a very fascinating game. Looking at Gambian Dutch Lions, they attack, they defend, but the problem is scoring. And I think what I observe is ball possession. When it comes to ball possession, if they have the ball, they will not be. They don't maintain the ball for so long. So I think that was the only problem. But if not, they played well, and I know that was not the results that they want because I think that was a very important points for them. If they won that game, they could have been the second on the second position of the table with 32 points, I guess. But unfortunately, they couldn't collect the 3 points because the home side also were into much fight to make sure that they have that 3 points, which is kind of it is. But again, Dutch Lions, they fought well because if you see, it was not their home games. And sometimes even the coach said when it comes to their home games, they are much more confident. So I think so far so good. They tried a lot, and the draw also is not bad.
It's not really bad, because I can say, at some point when you are going into a gym, there is an objective that you set for the gym.
Sure.
There are some games that most definitely if I go into this gym, it will be difficult for me to win. Coach, how is that my perception of football? Because
Yeah. Every game have objective.
Mhm.
That's not only football, but like in life, you have to get objectives. And then we understand every point counts. What's more important is to get a point, not losing everything. If you cannot settle for 3 maximum points, you can go for a point. So getting a point is never bad for the team, especially that was away. Even though I think we are the only one that we have home in terms of league here because all the teams are going away. Because like we talk about home and away is where fans will come in to give us backing. But here, whether you're playing home or away, it's still the same.
I think it will be interesting when we come to Jarabes because it's very difficult to play in Jarabes really. Now what I want to ask you about regarding this. We've seen the pitch at Bakau is not really that conducive. How will you rate the Gambian football as far as our pitch are concerned? And then what do you think we should do?
It's quite challenging when it comes to pitches all over the country. I mean, in the Gambia here. I think for me, the credit at this stage of the time should go to the footballers, the football teams, the football stakeholders of various football clubs are really doing well in terms of managing the football infrastructure we have here. And we're talking from the fan base, from the perspective of the fans, we are still able to enjoy football to a certain degree. Knowing that we are still short of in terms of quality, in terms of needed infrastructure we might have wished for as a country, as football fans all over the country here. But the stakeholders, when it comes to the ministry, when it comes to the Gambia Football Federation, when it comes to partners in the private sector, I think it's a collective effort in the end that can happen. But then we wouldn't expect this to happen overnight. But we would really expect, we would really crave for more, for better pitches. This is not just important for enjoyment of football, but then for sportsmanship. We want to see our footballers whenever they at the international stages. Their injury records can be affected by the bad
The
nature
condition
of
of
the
the
pitches.
pitch, most
Yeah,
definitely.
so to me, that football health should be, in fact, a reason for us to push for that as stakeholders to make sure we provide those necessary quality and infrastructure to the teams.
I think, for me, I think I will, we should give a credit to the Gambia Football Federation, for providing pitches that, we are playing on, even though they are not that quality. But then, if you look at most of the leagues in the other parts of Africa, or in other parts of the world, most teams have their own pitch. But in the Gambia, it's not the case.
Well, we are still talking about the football structures. I mean, it doesn't just link, it's not limited to the football pitches.
Exactly.
Yeah, it becomes that. I'm sure we're going to get to that level where teams will have that backing, financial backing. But then this has to be structured by the federation. The federation still becomes the head in relation to the ministries and other stakeholders. I mean, so these structures are there. That teams, we have community teams here. We have teams that are in private ownerships. But if for instance, I want to ask this question, it will be a quick one. If you have to come in as a football stakeholder, you want to own a football club in the Gambia, there should be conditions. And these conditions cannot come from any of us except the federation. So this is why I'm saying
it's a discussion. I've offered a discussion.
Talking about the community pitch, I think recently we have seen Gunjur trying to do that cleaning exercise. But I think they need the support from the federation, even though the community also had to put in their efforts to make sure that there are certain things that they have on that pitch. And I think this is a very great concern. Football is expensive, so we need to invest if we want to see our players grow. So looking at the Banjul pitch, I don't think there is a maximum 100% perfect pitch in the Gambia. No.
That's not existing in the
Looking
Gambia.
at the Banjul, the capital city of the Gambia, looking at their pitch condition, I have been watching games there several times and I've seen players how they struggle. Sometimes they will even they will fall down not because of they themselves, but because of the pitch condition. Sometimes you will see a goal chance, as you said, but they will miss that simply because of the pitch condition.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, yeah.
As you said, like we don't have perfect pitches in the country. Maybe in terms of playing grounds, someone from there, but at least we understand that's better. At least not playing ground, but also looking at the perimeter defense there is always difficult. And then dangerous for players and then officials. Both coaches. So Bakau, Banjul, it's all crazy.
It's all crazy.
But for Bakau, I think even it's better even because you play on the sun. But for Banjul, I just don't know what's there.
So we'll round this up with the last game that plays on the 26th. That is, Hearts FC versus Allies. Now the league leaders. The league leaders right now, they extend their lead by 9 points. What's your impression of Hearts game, Fatou?
Yes, I had game, had FC rather. they're really performing well. I'm looking at the points. I think they have.
I wouldn't want to cut him, but that is the coach of Jaros is right behind you, beside you there. So in case.
Yes, this is what I even want to ask. When you see Jaros and Heart FC are neighbors, I mean, why is Heart FC performing this much? Likewise, Jaros are still struggling in that red bottom. What is the main problem? So
What is the main
yes,
problem?
what could be the main reason? What could be the main reason? I think he is in the right position. I mean, to say that, but definitely this Hard FC, they're really doing great. Most of their games that I'm not that 100% present in most of their games, but according to the table standings, the goal that they have conceded, the goal that they scored, looking at their performance overall, they're really doing great. And like I said, their games I have been much more paying my attention to them. They will either draw or
Most of their
most
games
of
in
their
Congo.
away games. But in their home games, they're really trying. I mean,
They
they're
win most of their
unbeaten.
games at home.
Yes, at home. So I think so far so good. They are on the right track. And yes, right now they're the table leaders. I cannot say they are the champions, but let's see what will happen.
Yeah, let's see what will happen. So, in 2 minutes, I'm giving you only a minute to, to give your opinion on the Arts FC there.
Well, my general opinion would be Hearts FC currently represents the hearts of every football lover. I mean, in terms of your club, this is a club that every other fan would want your club to be in the same position with right now. If you ask Jarawes, the coach here will tell you, well, if I can trade positions with anyone right now, it will be with Hearts. But like you said, when you look at the statistics that is behind Hearts, you'll be impressed with them. This is a team that is capitalizing on their chances. This is a team that is really putting in the efforts. Like seriously said, but their home record is as good as perfect. They've not lost a game at home yet. They've drawn 2 games out of 19. They've won the last 4 games in a row. They've won like 3 games in a row with three goals. So you can look at all this. These are beautiful statistics that you can not just see them faltering right now. And even though we said at the point that we should be careful with how high we rate them because of the teams that we have behind them in the form of BK Milan who are experienced, but then they have withstand all those questions and they're really proving everyone right.
Indeed. Still, right now, Hearts is the favorite for almost all football lovers in this country. They are really doing well. But I will reserve your comment on that.
No. Let's be fair. They're a great team. They have good talent, put good players together, who have been together for some time now. I'm fortunate to be with them all the time, train together the same field. And I also coach some of the players during Zonal's time. They are very good players who are very determined. And then the coach too is hard working. He's doing a lot of effort to make sure these results are coming. When you understand hard, since at night and level, yes, they have mentality. And that mentality is winning. When they're playing, they score goals. When team have that mentality, it's difficult to stop that team. And then hard get this mentality. We have to win and then we have to score goals. And goals only win you games. So the like of Sekuba, we understand what he can do with the ball. Ismail is just there to finish. Give him goals and he will score for you.
And I have my player there who is doing very well.
The central defense, that partnership, I think I read it as the best one. Yeah, to be frank, Marcos together with Buji, they have so much understanding between themselves and
these people have been playing together for so long. I can remember when Buji started playing for her. That was so long.
Yeah.
I can't remember the year, but it was so long.
That's why credit goes back to the management, Mr. Pandey and his people. They're doing good.
They are really doing good. Well, viewers, we'll take our first commercial break and then, we'll be right back to continue the discussion on the table standing. And of course, a special focus on the Jara West and of course the Gambian.9 FC. We'll take our first commercial break and then we'll be back.
Ici c'est la terre sainte, la patrie des dieux, bienvenue sur la terre-mère. Le nord, le sud, l'embrasse, l'est et l'ouest, on vit le règne d'un la tierra de nuestros abuelos. Você sabe que as crianças são futuro, trazendo esperança para a próxima geração. On donne tout pour l'Afrique du Djibouti au Sénégal. Comme bandit, tout ce que je veux c'est soulever le Graal. L'Afrique est belle, l'Afrique est jeune, l'Afrique est forte. Enfant de la terre, mère, lève le poing et envoie du love. Enfant de la terre, mère, lève le poing et envoie du love.
welcome back from that short commercial break. And then if you are just joining us, this is Africa in Sport here on African Renaissance TV Network with me, Mohammed M. Sediba. Well, just to remind you, this program is being brought to you by the Gambian Live Consortium, a team that is, of course, playing their trade at the Second Division League and also at the Busumbala West Coast, Third Division League, which is the Busumbala Best Liga. Welcome back. And of course, a lady here with us. Welcome back. Welcome back, coach.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then now we're moving on.
You didn't welcome me.
I don't want to welcome you.
I am back. I am also back. I am here.
So we've been talking about the games that played on the 26th and the 27th. Now, the game that played on the 28th. We have the first game that played. The first game on the table was Latrikunda United versus GPA Gambia Ports Authority. Now, Bibaji, GPA and Latrikunda, we've discussed about them here previously. Now, they played and then, both of them, they drew 2 goals to both sides.
Well, I think 2-2 has been becoming a mantra here. I mean, games have been drawn a lot. But one positive that I've seen in that game is that goals have been scored. And that is quite amazing. Like, this used to be a problem in the Gambia, and this translates even at the national level. When you look at the Scorpions or the baby Scorpions, you might also call them, it has always been sometimes goal drought. But then for a league of the second division, if we are witnessing goals raining, to me that is a positive. Well, it could signal defensive fragilities, but then I'm looking at the positive side, having goals scored, that is a positive thing for me. So, well, it was a 0-0, and these are teams that are really neither pushing for the championship or
GPA
struggling. They are closer. They are closer to the division. Yes.
Now, Fadu, we have Latrikunda. They're just a little bit ahead of the relegation zone. Of course, they stand at 14th on the table. And then they also have 19 points, and then they are equal to the two sides on the force of the relegation zone. How crucial is this draw for Latrikunda?
It is crucial in a sense of looking at the standing of the table and looking at their 5 last games. I think they lost only 2 out of 5 and they drew the 3 games. I'm not that pretty sure, like when the match was on, who first scored, who second scored, or the scores. But I think it's a very, very, very tricky game. Looking at 2-2 draw is not that much easier. I don't know who first scored the 2 goals and allowed their opponent to equalize both the 2 goals, like he said. I think maybe it could be a defensive error also. But I think so far so good. The draw is not bad. What is bad is losing all the 3 points. But sharing 3 points, sharing all the points, you have 1, I have 1 is fair enough.
Well, I keep wondering, who owns the 3rd point that is not fair? Is it the referee or the referee?
The referee is the
Or maybe the sport journalist.
Definitely.
Well, the Latrikunda, they are fighting, to leave the relegation zone. Now, how crucial is this draw for them?
Yeah, that 2 teams, Latrikunda and then Port is a big team, one time being champions in the 4th division, coming down, trying to fight, get straight back to the top, and it's still not very much possible. Because they were doing good, but of recent, their last 5 games have not been good. I think they lost 3, win 1 and then draw the last time. And then this Latrikunda game, they scored first. I was following the scores. Latrikunda equalized, and I think they scored in the 86th minute. And that they scored in the 89th minute.
Then it was a great game for us.
Yeah. So, Latrikunda also, where they are, they miss getting victories. So they're also fighting. Because losing all that point, they would have been 18, and that means they have already dropped. So at least that point kept them up from that, relegation. So at least it was a good point for Latrikunda. Yeah.
Now, looking at the table standing from 12 down to the last on the table, they all have the same point. That's 19 points. After 19 games, meaning a point for them.
Each game a point.
Now, we have Wagadugu also drawn Serekunda United. That was a game that played on the 28th. Wagadugu, they were surprised. They were elements of surprise. They beat the Gambia Dotland 2 goals, 2 goals to 0.
Well, I'm not surprised you said there were elements of surprise. I think from the Wagadugu perspective, it would be a disappointing that they've not won that game. Looking at the run of games they had, especially winning against Dutch Lions, it is said that Dutch Lions really had a good game that day, but they couldn't capitalize. But I wouldn't look at that from that perspective. I mean, there are times when football you don't just have to dominate games to win. Sometimes containing a team becomes more difficult than dominating a team. And if you're able to contain a team and then to come up with all the 3 points, it means you have something, a fighting spirit in you.
Sure.
So I think for them not to keep that going, that would be a disappointment from their end. So that is what the management should be looking at to say, or how do they proceed from there?
Now we'll move on. We will not have you all give a comment on that game because we have a lot to have to cover. Now, another game that played, that was the last game. That is RS Tallinn versus BK Milan. BK Milan were at home and they draw against RS Tallinn. How do you see the game? How will you rate that performance of BK Milan? Maybe Fatma can comment there.
BK Milan they have a very strong team, and looking at the FF Cup when they defeated, Mali, that was like wow. Junior beating senior. But so far so good. I think they are on the second position of the table. And RS Tallinn also, they are that team that is a little bit tricky. It's not that much easier to score them. But I think if you are playing at home, you have that 50% advantage to win that that particular game. But I think they should have won that game, became Milan. But again, it is very difficult when it comes to RS Tallinn because I have been watching their games. So far so good. BK Milan also it's not a bad point for them, but I think they also are into the top.
They are into the top, but they
but
also
again they had FC. They widen the gap. The gap is wide. So
BK also miss winning, just like
yes, they miss they miss winning.
So
I think their recent last 3 games are all draws.
So
Yes.
what do you think is going wrong with BK Milan?
This Gambian league, it's hard to talk about it. Always we get surprised in the results.
Exactly.
Teams been throwing, where you expect points to go to the other way, it comes to the other way around. So that's why it's hard to predict even, who will be winning games. So, BK Milan is a good side, a very good coach, started the league very well. And everyone was hoping that it's going to be easy ride for them again to go back. But it seems to be the other way around. Teams are fighting, making it difficult for them. So Tallinn too this year, is a different Tallinn that we seen last year.
But Tallinn, I think at the beginning of the season they were doing good.
They were on top. They were on
top.
top. Yeah. They were on top. They have new branding, RS Tallinn we seen. Last year they know what they went through, and then surviving in the last game against before Ukiang. Getting that red card and then finding that difficult, at least to stay up.
That red card was also important for Jarvis.
So I was safe already. We were safe already by then. Yeah.
So now moving on. Now we've exhausted the table. The table looks interesting. We have a provincial team, of course, leading the table, which is Heart FC. Heart FC is at on the top of the table. With 9 points clear from the second man. Now moving on. We will now shift our discussion onto Jarawes. We've not discussed about their last year, which is they played against Hawks and they draw 1-1. Now I will come back to you, but how will you rate that game?
So for Jarawes, for a team fighting for relegation, I think that draw only showed one weakness, that is their inability to at the current state to translate chances into goals. That is that important, and then that is what they really need to figure out now to move ahead from that.
Well, there's the coach, the Jarawes, the head coach is here, so maybe he knows what they need to figure out. So what's your take on to Jarawes' performance so far so good? From the beginning of the season up to date.
Well, Jarawes. Let me look at the question.
What is the picture? Don't worry.
Let him correct me. Like he said, it's not that 100% bad, but as they are right now, they are between that bridge that they need to cross. And crossing that bridge also is not the main thing. It's going to be a very difficult thing. Looking at their 5 games, yes, I think they lost only one. The rest are draws. I think what they need right now is goals. Of
Mhm.
course, the maximum 3 points for them to escape from the
Mhm.
relegation. I mean, he knows he's the coach. When they go to onto the pitch there after the game, they go to the drawing board. I don't know what have been their discussion whenever they went to the drawing board, but I think much effort should be put. Is it because of the striker problem? Because he said defense is not a problem here. Is it because you lack that strikers that can convert? I mean, opportunities that convert that goal scoring opportunities to find the back of the net and finally get your 3 points.
Indeed, that's a good one. That's a good observation.
But see, but it's like, they will put questions to me.
We don't answers.
But-
We definitely want answers. No,
He is the right person to give us
and
that
she's a
answer.
journalist, so she's also asking me. Now, say, but don't worry, she's the host at this moment.
Yes.
Yes. What I keep thinking is why Jarawes? I mean, you with Heart FC and you all train on the
Same
same
pitch.
ground,
Mm.
the same pitch. You are neighbors. You're like brothers. But why are they performing that? Maybe experience wise, or
Well,
maybe
let's let him come from there.
Well, I
and then
believe
see.
Jarowitz is a community team and Hearts is an individual team. That's where the difference comes in. But then, like you said, they are the same people, the same ground, the same town, the same everything. Now, coach, what do you think is going wrong with that?
Okay, just to start from where it ended.
Mm.
Jerusalem had last year where we are had was struggling the same way we are,
Mm.
and then we were doing good,
Mm.
and then it was something beyond their control. For Jarvis, we understand we have been doing good,
Mm.
but we are a problem for every team.
Especially when we are
Yes.
at home.
And then looking at the table, statistically, we have drawn 12.
12 games.
It's only Hawks that have more draws than Jarvis.
Mhm.
That can tell you something. We went 8 unbeaten
Mhm.
before playing hard. We went 8 unbeaten, but we can also we won only one out of that 8.
Mm.
And then after losing to Cantonese again, we are 4 without a defeat again. So that maximum point that we're looking for is the problem.
Mhm.
And then it's a team, that's a community team, you understand. So it's difficult to manage community teams. And then in this scene that we're in, we lost 17 players of our current squad of last year.
Mhm.
And then we registered 17 new players. And then most of those players came through Navetan. And then not experienced that much,
Mhm.
to give us that backing that we will need from them. Even though, they're doing good, creating chances. But that individual to take the courage of scoring our goals is the problem. And then if we figure out that, we make some reinforcement in the second round that we expect, when they come in, at least they will help.
Yeah, we've seen that you've actually earned the service of some of your players that were on loan.
Yeah.
For example, Ibrahima, who was in the Gambia line, then he's in your team now as a loan player.
Yeah.
What do you think that will give the boost to your team?
Yeah, Ibrahim will uplift the midfield, not only in terms of creativity, but also attacking wise, because he was with us.
Mhm.
We know what he can do, and then from us, other teams eye him, and then he went. Difficult for him to have playing time. We decided to get him back. We have Lamin Sane Raul,
Mhm.
who is known for scoring in trauma. Everybody that you ask about Raul can tell you.
Mhm.
We have Baukar Kande, that is Kaka, who is running also. Last year he joined in the second and scored 7 goals. I think one time he was with your team. So we expect at least things will change. We believe so. Things will change. We start banking goals because that's the only problem we need. You want to
I believe the reinforcement that you've done right now, we hoping that now, in the second round we will receive some goals from some beautiful goals, of course, from Jarabes.
Yes, if you have a striker like Rigu that leads the team, always, I saw you in every game a goal. No, it's always difficult. So we as coaches, we have developed, and then we are on that development process. That we need patience from fans. We know they're not happy with the situation of the team, and then neither of us as officials and the players. But we need patience from them. And then that red zone that we are in, yes, we are there by ourselves, and then move out from there by ourselves also.
Most definitely. I think
Yes.
that's a urgent. It's an emergency. You can say emergency situation that you need to work on.
Sure.
Now there is a situation in the Ghanaian football that I mostly observe. The provincial teams when they come into the combos for their teams, most of the time they will come the same day and go back the same day. What would be your comment onto that?
Well, Silva, I think when you're talking of like when I listen to Coach Keba speak, this has brought in a lot of things outside. I think one of the most important things that we do on a show like this in African sports for everyone out there is to make people understand what happens within the pitch, but then most importantly outside of the pitch. I think like when Fatu asked, it was an important question to ask. Having this could be asked by anyone. We have hearts being at the summit of the table, and then Jara was on the other end of the table. I mean, it could be a simple question to say, what is the difference? What are they getting that these people are not getting? I know others can, like you said, this is private ownership and communal ownership, but then it asks that question on communal teams. It's not just Jara West. We've seen Jam City, we've seen Gunjur, we've seen teams like that. I mean, how far they can go in terms of struggling. And like he said, having to lose 17 players in a single window, I mean, to register in a new 17 different players again, that can take any professional coach, huge tasks to integrate them, to make sure they fall in within your tactics, to fall in within the aims and ambitions of the club. That way, I mean, that is a challenge that the whole of the need support, not just from the coaching staff, from the fans, from the community of Jara, from sport lovers, and any other stakeholder that is involved in
And
this.
there is an important thing that needs to be discussed in Ghanaian football. That is player retention. Like you mentioned, they lose 17 players. In the transfer window. Now how crucial is player retention, and then we all can suggest maybe there could be someone that is watching, an investor or someone that is interested in the development of Gambian football. He could help into that. Now what do you think should be done to improve teams player retention, and then why in fact what's the problem? Why do people or team don't retain their players that much?
Yeah, football is expensive, you understand,
Mm.
and then it demands phone. At times, when you're gonna get the players what their demands are,
Mm.
where they expect those demands to be met, you have to stop those players from moving.
Mm.
And then like Jaro is not a team that will stand ahead of any player if you have any opportunity. Like we have a goal, we have a target
Mm.
with my board members, Usman Sane. He will say that. Looking at Jaro last year, we are lucky to have two players representing us for the first time in the under 23.
Well, that's a great.
Okay? The first time we have a player that signed a professional contract, that is Musa.
Mm.
And then the first time also we have made about 5, 6 of our players have left Jaros and then moved to a better level we can say. Like our captain Alaji Bambo to Walidan, Buwandabo to Bet Lion, Ivan to Bet Lion, and then we have Isa Sise Timba, that's our central defender, also to Elite. This what we have, what we want to do. Let's give them the opportunity. When they feel like there's a better place for them to go and then uplift themselves, stand on their way.
So what do you think is the problem? Is it the financial bit of it, or
Yes, that's why I start from finance. We need finance. Yeah, we need finance. Finance is very important. It's a big muscle for any team to develop or any team to get results. If you're gonna get the finance that you need, you maybe remain in the league, but to compete for the league, it's very difficult. Unless luck come on your way.
Well, Fabio, what do you think should be done to avoid that problem that is player retention?
I think what he said about this financial issue, like I said, it's all about investing.
Mm.
If players think like they can have this in this particular team, which they are not having in this team, of course, yes, it will be very difficult to convince
them.
that team, that particular player, to be in that particular team.
Mm.
So I think here the philanthropists had to come in.
Mm.
I mean, you cannot just be sitting outside. I mean, having small, earning something, and saying GFF is not doing this, GFF is not doing this. It's not all about GFF. It is a collective responsibility. I think if you can at least send 40 euros for a particular team to help, it is very important because it will boost that particular team to, solve their 1 or 2, 3 things financially. So I think financial problem is the reason why
Most
it
players.
is difficult to retain most players.
Most definitely. So, what would be, this would be your final remark.
Well,
So
I was suspecting so. I was
This would be
suspecting
a
that
final
this would
remark,
be
so let's-
final remarks. I'm looking at the time. So someone has been knocking on the clock that we should run off now. But it's important to say, but I think when you look at these challenges, these are things that are real. They are not just, this is not just peculiar to Jara West. Like we said, it is mostly affecting provincial teams especially. The condition that Jara West and other provincial teams are playing at, even though Hearts is excelling in it, but then it should not happen. These are things you cannot just travel for hundreds of kilometers to, let's say, Banjul to play. Within a day you don't have that time to rest, to refresh and play a game, and then you have to rush back again that very evening to travel back the same distance. It shouldn't happen. And if they had the option, they would have really wanted to be in one of the luxurious hotels to take a rest and then refresh for the following games. And it is important for not just the league, but then for the country going forward, because this will help the health of our footballers. If they are able to make their ways through the national league, through the national team, we will have very quality footballers. We've seen Gambian players made a breakthrough in let's say even in Europe, in abroad, foreign countries. But then because of this injury record, some of them have been facing problems. Like last time I was talking about someone like Ibrahim Adabo, for instance. Even Young Minte, we have seen him. He has lots of injuries now, and then this could hamper their careers at this young age. So we must look inwards. Like she said, we need really, as a people, we need to reinvest in our own individuals, lovers of sports, and let's support each
I
other.
think it's not only about common support. It's not only about coming to support, but then like businessmen in the Gambia here, businesses in the Gambia, they can come and it's an advantage for them. It's advertisement for
Partner
them.
with teams.
Partner with teams.
Yeah.
You provide them certain things. They also provide them that. Thank you so much for for coming and talk to us. Thank you so much. Well, viewers, this will bring us to the end of today's program here on African Renaissance TV Network. With me, Mohammed M. Seliba. Like we said, this program is being brought to you by the Gambia Dotline Consortium. Of course, the Gambia Dotline Consortium, it consists of two teams, which is the Gambia Dotline FC, which played in the in the second division tier of the Gambia Football Federation, and Busumbara Dotline playing in West Coast Region, third division league. Now, this program is also open to sponsorship, of course, like we said here. Because sponsor, it's a visibility for you, and it's necessary. It's important, giving analysis on the league is very important. It's very vital. It gives that that boost to the to the league. Now, before we close, I have this question that I want to bring in. That is, recently GFF have announced that they want to professionalize the league. How crucial is this development? Maybe Bibadi, you can take that.
Well, crucial is that at a rating of A plus, it is very crucial. I mean, this is something that we've been yearning for a long time. But I think the other thing would be about how reasonable, how feasible is it within the shortest possible time.
I think that's the question
Yes,
that most people ask.
I would really ask that question because it's important. I mean, when we are to professionalize the league, it means a lot of questions must be answered, and then that has been asked. When it comes to the football infrastructure, when it comes to the football compensation, when it comes to team management, when it comes to the refereeing, when it comes to the fans, a lot of things we should be put in place. But I think we will come out on the positive side if the league is professionalized.
Yes, that's a good one. It's a good one to professionality. But then now, to professionality, it means each team should have your own pitch. It means certain things have to be put in place. How feasible is this battle?
It is a mountain to climb. It is not that much easy, but as you said, it is something that we have been yearning for. As you said, when we have it, we know that our dream is been achieved. But again, how are we going to achieve this dream if we don't have that strong teams that are financially strong, and also looking at the football
The pitch.
pitches that are recently in the country. It's too bad. And as you mentioned of something which is very important, Gambian league right now is not only being followed by only Gambians, even internationally. They're following them. There are international companies right now, they are having reporters on the ground that are players at the end of the league. Who knows how many players will sign international,
Contracts.
if we achieve for the Gambian league to be professionalized, it is something that will, boost
It
our.
will indeed boost our football.
Yeah.
Now, how important is this development for Gambia?
Sure, it's an important thing. But we are talking about how possible this will be. For teams to have their own playing ground, their own training ground, have football house, because this have to be there. The football house,
Of course, a female team is a
Female team is a
requirement.
requirement. and then the branding. It demands, at least a time that we need to work on this. Because not only from the team perspective, but even from the main area, that's the GFF also. They need TV station to be covering their games. And when you look at Cameroon when they're playing, you have many sponsors that comes in to help in that. But for us, it's still not the same. And then looking at, the league now, as you said, it's been watched everywhere around the globe. Last year we had a record-breaking transfer window. 250 transfers happened. And that shows you that yes, at this way we are moving.
People are following.
Yeah, so if investments are put in and if we provide the league, it's going to help.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, viewers, we will just have to cut the discussion here. Like we always, say, it's about investment. Come and invest into it. This will not be a lose for anybody. If you invest into Gambian football, well, you will not regret it, and then you will live to narrate that story. Well, we will take a leave of you till we come here next time. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Of course, follow us on TikTok, on Twitter, on Facebook, on all other social media platforms at Africa Renaissance TV Network. Just to remind you, this is Africa in Sport with me, Mohamed M. Sediba. And bye for now.
Ici c'est la Terre Sainte, la patrie des dieux, bienvenue sur la terre-mère. Le nord, le sud, embrasse l'est et l'ouest, on vit le règne de estamos en la tierra de nuestros abuelos. Você sabe que as crianças são futuro, trazendo esperança para a próxima geração. On donne tout pour l'Afrique, du Djibouti au Sénégal. Comme mendiant, tout ce que je veux c'est soulever le Graal. L'Afrique est belle, l'Afrique est jeune, l'Afrique est forte, enfant de la terre, mère, lève le poing et envoie du love.